This is Daniel Bryan, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Aw, yeah, welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He's Johnny North. We're here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. Follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. And of course, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. It's the place to be because our shows are there. Ringside Report Radio is there. The MMA show that airs on Friday nights. All the episodes of Wrestling Uncensored are there. And Dave and Johnny Live. The show that Johnny and I do every Friday afternoon around 12:30. We go live on YouTube. We talk to you. All those episodes, including yesterday's show, where Johnny had to give me money because he lost a bet about Kenny Omega. Yesterday's show, now online, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Dave and Johnny Live every Friday afternoon. It's a party. It's a party every Friday. How you feeling, Johnny? $20 lighter?
Yeah, it's rough, but I learned my lesson. Kenny Omega's not going WWE. Live with it.
Deal with it, as the great Dave Bautista would say. Yeah, Kenny Omega not going to the WWE. All Elite Wrestling has signed Kenny Omega. Or has Kenny Omega signed himself? Because he's an executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling, the new wrestling promotion started by the Khan family, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're the owners, but it's being run by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. And their talent roster is getting deeper and deeper. Some interesting performers that they showcased on that press conference that they did Thursday night. Saw Sonny Kiss for the first time. It's quite a gimmick. Quite a gimmick, brother. Not your typical wrestling gimmick. Did you see Sonny Kiss, John?
I did not.
Okay, well, look him up. I think he's going to be competing in the women's division.
Okay.
In All Elite Wrestling. According to the chief branding officer and the chief brandy officer, Brandy Rhodes, she listed Sonny Kiss, who is a man, I believe identifies as a man, although I'm not 100%, but I think he identifies as a man, I think. I don't know. But he's like, he's gay. He's a gay character. I mean, it's not a character. I think he is a gay man. But it's very, it's a different type of character that you've ever seen in professional wrestling. It's very interesting.
Well, we've seen Orlando Jordan in the past.
Yeah, but this is something different. And, I think it's cool that AEW is going in different directions that you probably wouldn't see in the WWE. They're going to offer a very different wrestling product, not just with cool performers like Sonny Kiss, but Pentagon and Phoenix have signed to All Elite Wrestling. Pac, formerly Neville, or Adrian Neville, former NXT champion, a cruiserweight champion in the WWE, he has signed to All Elite Wrestling. And I'm sure more wrestlers will continue to go over to All Elite Wrestling. Kenny Omega, a lot of people wanted to see him in the WWE, but not happening. Not happening. He is in All Elite Wrestling. Johnny North, you thought that he would go to the WWE. I thought otherwise. But I follow this stuff a little bit more closely than you do, right? Like, I watch every episode of Being the Elite. I watch all the New Japan shows. I watch Ring of Honor. Like, I'm more kind of in tune with that world than you are. I'm not saying this as a slight to you. You're a professional wrestler. You're very much in tune with the, Quebec indie wrestling scene. But as far as, like, the big indies and New Japan and the Elite, I'm a big fan of the Elite, and I've followed them very closely, and it seemed obvious to me that Kenny was going to go with his buddies and their new wrestling venture.
Well, you were right. It just, at the time, I thought Kenny was featured on WWE.com when he had that battle for the video games against the New Day. Him and the Young Bucks, they were featured by WWE.com. So I thought, maybe they would be in a relationship together. There were talks. Apparently Triple H talked to them for like 12 hours.
Wow.
So I thought maybe something was going on.
There were some serious talks. They wanted Kenny Omega. They wanted the Young Bucks. They wanted Chris Jericho. They wanted to sign all of those guys, and all of those guys chose to go to All Elite Wrestling and start this new wrestling promotion. They have one show that we know of, Double or Nothing, May 25th in Las Vegas. Don't know what's going to be past that. We talked about it a little bit on Dave and Johnny Live yesterday. Some people are wondering and already asking us in the Wrestling Uncensored universe, are we going to cover All Elite Wrestling now on Wrestling Uncensored? Or do we start a new show? I have the show with the Green Phantom, What's Phantom in Japan, the monthly podcast about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we started a new show for New Japan. Do we branch out and start a new show for All Elite? Or do we just cover All Elite with the WWE on Wrestling Uncensored? I don't know. I think we'll find out in May. Well, right now, it seems like we're talking about All Elite on Wrestling Uncensored. But I think it's because people want to hear about it and people want to know what this thing is that Chris Jericho is doing.
Right, and this is just going to be one show as of right now. There's no weekly television. So right now we're just talking about one big show they're planning May 25th. We're talking about it this week because they had a rally 2 days ago. But later on, we're not really going to be talking about that much until closer to the show.
Yeah, that's it. Like next week, there's going to be nothing to talk about with All Elite Wrestling. Unless they sign a TV deal and make the announcement or something, right?
So really, you're just going to get All Elite Wrestling updates here and there. But that's it until something concrete happens.
Yeah, and if they do put out a weekly wrestling show, well, then we'll probably have to put out a weekly All Elite Wrestling show as well.
Keep checking our YouTube page.
That's right. It'll probably be on YouTube. Right? Because TSN 690 only gives us an hour a week to talk about pro wrestling, and we decided that a WWE-based show is what the largest audience wants, right? Because when you say professional wrestling, most people think WWE. We could do a show about, Quebec indie wrestling, and I'm sure a lot of people would like that, but I don't know if it would reach the largest audience possible because people don't know the names necessarily on certain indie scenes or even in All Elite Wrestling. You say Pentagon and the Young Bucks, some people don't know. So I think a WWE-focused show on TSN 690 here once a week is the best course of action for Wrestling Uncensored. However, there are other things going on in the world of professional wrestling, and at WrestlingUncensored.net, we'll get that covered for you.
Well, just covering 5 hours of wrestling.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. 2 hours of SmackDown, 3 hours of Raw every single week. That's enough for 1 hour of Wrestling Uncensored. And then you add the pay-per-views. We have to do post-shows right after the pay-per-views on YouTube, for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons is because, if we're going to come on here Saturday night and talk about a pay-per-view that happened last Sunday, we've already seen Raw and SmackDown in the meantime. There's so much that's happened in the meantime. It's kind of best to cover just Raw and SmackDown as its own entity rather than try to get everything all in one shot. It's too much wrestling.
Well, and they just flip the page so quickly in WWE. Like, the Royal Rumble happens, and then right away, Raw and SmackDown. You pretty much have Elimination Chamber set up in just a week's time, and we're just about a week away from the Elimination Chamber already.
We are a week away from the Elimination Chamber. No rest. Get ready for the Elimination Chamber post-show right after the Chamber next week, right? It never ends.
Well, I don't think all the matches are set quite yet, but I think you pretty much have a good idea of how it's going to go. I mean, the Chamber's set, And I feel we're going to get a couple more matches confirmed. I feel it's not confirmed, I don't believe, but Rey Mysterio Andrade, I think that's going to happen.
At the Chamber?
Not inside the Chamber, but
yeah, just a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah. This pay-per-view is pretty much set, right? Elimination Chamber going down next week. We have the Women's Chamber match complete. 3 more teams added to that one this week. The Iconics, Sasha Banks and Bayley. And we're struggling to come up with another SmackDown tag team, but I figured Naomi and maybe Carmella or, Asuka, and they went with Naomi and Carmella, kind of a makeshift tag team, and they're in there. The Elimination Chamber match, joining Tamina and Nia Jax. Who else is in this thing?
Sasha Banks and Bayley.
Yeah. But who qualified last week? Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Well, they just said they're in it, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
SmackDown just said that too.
Did they?
They just said we're in it. That's it.
Yeah, they didn't
won
have to
no
qualify.
matches.
Yeah. Oh, and Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, right? The Riot Squad, they had to qualify. They beat Natty and Dana Brooke.
Who are still feuding.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be Nia Jax and Tamina, the Riot Squad, Mandy and Sonya, the Iconics, Bayley and Sasha, and Naomi and Carmella. And the winner of this match will become the first ever women's tag team champions in the WWE.
Doesn't have the biggest star power, but because it's the first time we'll ever see women's tag team champions in WWE in this present era, I think it should be the main event of the show.
Interesting.
I know. Because I know the WWE title is also defended inside the Elimination Chamber.
Where's Ronda?
That's a good question. Well, Ronda, it seemed like maybe she might feud with Ruby Riott. Because she did take out most of the Riot Squad, right, on Raw.
Yeah, she beat Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. It was a lot of Ronda this week. And then Ruby kind of backed off and didn't want Ronda. So maybe Ronda wrestles Ruby at the pay-per-view. Because you figure Elimination Chamber here, Ronda should be on this card. She's not booked for anything. Maybe they'll announce Ruby versus Ronda on the pay-per-view, or maybe they'll just do Ruby and Ronda on Raw and not have Ronda on this pay-per-view?
Yeah, I could actually see that. Like, does Ronda really need to wrestle every pay-per-view?
I don't know. Why not? I don't see anything for Asuka, the SmackDown Women's Champion. Maybe. It's kind of a weird spot right now because they're building things towards Mania, but, there are still 2 big shows before WrestleMania. You've got the Elimination Chamber here, and then Fastlane coming up next month, right?
But they put all the big main eventers on the shelf pretty much. Now Becky with the whole suspension angle. Seth Rollins is injured. And apparently AJ Styles, there's something up with AJ Styles. Like, he's not wrestling. He's appearing, but he's not wrestling. So there's something going on with AJ.
But there was a rumor that he was hurt, but then he said he wasn't.
But they're still being cautious, though. You could tell. Because he's not wrestling on SmackDown anytime soon.
Well, I don't know what's going on with AJ Styles. Becky Lynch, we found out this week, suspended, storyline-wise. Stephanie McMahon cuts an in-ring promo. Becky Lynch interrupts her. Stephanie showed the promo with Ronda from last week, where Ronda was talking about Becky, but they edited out the part where Ronda said that she could kill Becky with her bare hands if she wanted to. They took that part out. That's the only part they took out, which is odd, and it's not. Like, to me, that's the most impactful statement that she made, and it was a really good line, and I talked about it last week on the show, and I was excited about it. It was a cool line that Ronda dropped. They take it out. I understand why they took it out, because you're not supposed to say you could kill, or you're not supposed to say the word kill or murder or anything in WWE, because that's not what they want to kind of project as their image. I get that, but it was a cool line, but I wasn't surprised that they took it out when they replayed it.
Well, if you wanted to see, you should have saw it live. That's it.
Yeah, I guess so. So then Becky says she's going to beat Ronda at WrestleMania, and Stephanie is like super down with that. She's like, yeah, after everything Ronda's done to me, I hope you do beat Ronda at Mania, Becky. I really don't like Ronda Rousey. Good for you. And then Stephanie's like, but you got a knee brace there. I wonder if you're hurt. You're refusing medical attention. You got to go see a doctor. And if you can't get cleared by the doctors, well, you can't compete.
It's weird this happened on Raw, not SmackDown.
Yeah, because
Very
Becky's a SmackDown wrestler, but whatever. So Becky says she struggled so much to get here, and she's not going to go see the doctor. And Stephanie, what do you know about struggle? Like Stephanie is on Becky's side. It was a weird promo, and a lot of people liked it. I wasn't really a fan of it, because I thought it made Becky seem like not somebody you would root for. So Stephanie's like, Becky, go see a doctor. You're obviously hurt. We need to make sure that you're not injured.
Right.
And like, come on, Becky. Go see a doctor. It's February. WrestleMania's in April. If this were real and Becky was really refusing medical attention, you'd be like, well, you're being unreasonable. You have like 2.5 months to rest your knee. Go see a doctor. Get yourself checked out. It's the best course of action. But instead, Becky gets mad and she's like, I struggled so hard to get here, Stephanie. You never had to struggle for anything because your dad gave you everything, just like Charlotte Flair, and I hate people like you, and I refuse to get medical attention. And Stephanie's like, all right, well, then you're suspended from WWE. Very reasonable. Very reasonable for Stephanie. And then Becky flips out, gets real mad, attacks Stephanie McMahon. Refs and agents show up and try to stop her, and they stop her from beating up on Stephanie. And then Becky's walking out of the building backstage. She runs into Ronda Rousey, and Ronda's like, Becky, you're unprofessional. You should be at home resting instead of getting yourself suspended and screwing up our WrestleMania main event. And then, before she leaves, Ronda drops another great Ronda line, ice and Advil, bitch. And then she walks away. Badass promo from Ronda Rousey. And again, she's in the right. Becky's supposed to be the babyface, but I'm watching this and I'm like, Becky, you're just wrong. You're in the wrong here. You know, it's not good. I didn't like it. Maybe I saw it a different way than other people did, but I saw it as Becky's being hard-headed. She's clearly hurt. She's limping around. Go see a doctor. It's not that hard. You have 2.5 months before the match with Ronda. Unless you think your ACL is completely torn and, you can't wrestle for a year and they're going to take you out. I don't know. And Stephanie did kind of say that. She's like, Becky, I think that you're scared. I think that you're scared of Ronda Rousey and that's why you don't want to get checked out. And you know that I'm going to force you out of the match because I won't let you wrestle hurt. Or you're scared that the doctor will tell you that you're seriously injured and you won't be able to make it at WrestleMania. So, okay, that's what we're supposed to understand. We're supposed to understand that Becky thinks that she's really hurt and that the doctors will say, like, you'll need surgery on your knee and you'll be out for a year. Right? That's what we're supposed to understand. But it's not really coming across that way, to me.
Well, the way I looked at it, it felt like we were reliving Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin from MSG, when Austin delivered his first stunner to Vince, and Vince told him straight up, like, if you don't get cleared, you can't wrestle, and I have to suspend you. And Vince was the good guy at the time, too. He was kind of neutral in between. But Austin stunned him, and it was the greatest pop in the world.
But everybody knew that Austin's neck was messed up for real and that he would have to go away for a while. So it made sense that Austin was just like, no, I'm refusing to leave. No, stunner. It made more sense for Austin. I know that they were trying to reproduce that with Becky, but I don't think it came across the same way.
Well, I think it's just because you like Stephanie somewhat, so that's kind of helps.
Love Stephanie. Stephanie's the best. She listens to our show.
And you like Ronda as well, so like you're not completely on Becky's side in this, where people kind of see Becky where it's like,
I like Becky a lot, though.
Right. But
I want to see her beat Ronda at Mania.
But you don't see her as that complete underdog. You know, you just see her as the person coming up, but other people see her as the one who has been kind of given the short staff in a sense.
I guess, but I see Becky as a superior wrestler. Maybe that's why, I just think she's the more seasoned pro.
In terms of pro wrestling, yes, but in terms of actual wrestling, like, Ronda's really good, and we've seen that in the last couple of matches, especially the Sasha match. Like, that was fantastic.
Ronda's very good. I'm not saying she's not. I just think, Becky's more the total package professional wrestler. Although, I don't know. It's tough. Ronda's very good. Ronda's very good, man. I say that, and as I'm saying it, I'm like second-guessing myself. Because as great as Becky is, that's Ronda freaking Rousey, Like, she's a household name. She's been a household name for 10 years, like she told Becky Lynch.
It's not clear-cut for you, Like, you don't have a clear villain. Like, there are some hateable qualities to Ronda, but there's also a lot of likables.
Yeah.
So
she's a badass. Ice and Advil, bitch. That was cool. That was cool.
It was. But that's it. The thing with Ronda, I feel one week to the next you get a different Ronda. Last week, we saw Ronda that wasn't very happy with the crowd and was kind of distant, I found, with her reactions, kind of doing this talking, not talking kind of thing. Kind of immature Ronda. And now it's badass Ronda this week. So
I think it was a little bit of a continuation from last week. Ronda's just mad now. Ronda's angry because of the way the crowd is cheering Becky instead of her. And Ronda beating up Liv Morgan real quick on Raw, squashed her, made her tap to the armbar. And then she cut a promo after the match, and the crowd was kind of booing her, and it looked like she was challenging the crowd to come and fight her.
She did, didn't she? She said something. She said
yeah.
The crowd booing her.
Yeah. And then, she challenged Sarah Logan to come in and fight her, and then she did, and then Ronda had a little match there and beat Sarah Logan, and then Ruby thought about it but decided against it.
But might do it in the future.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it's different than Steve Austin, because when Steve Austin stunned Vince McMahon, there was no Ronda Rousey there waiting for him. Like, when Steve Austin stunned Vince McMahon, like, when Steve Austin became the champion at WrestleMania 14.
Yeah.
That was it. He was at the top of the mountain. There was nobody on his level. He was the top dog without anybody that could really touch him. They hadn't booked anybody else to be at the level of an Austin. Like, even The Rock back then, WrestleMania 14, he wrestled for the Intercontinental title. I think Triple H wrestled for the European title, did he not?
He did.
At 14?
He was...
So, like, when Austin was crowned the man, because Shawn Michaels went away right away...
Well, it was going to happen anyways, even if Shawn was going to leave.
But, because Shawn was gone... and everybody else was kind of gone. Brett was gone. Everybody was gone. Austin was kind of the only guy standing up top. So, of course, the crowd was like 100% behind him. He was all we had. With Becky and Ronda, it's kind of like, well, yeah, we got Becky, but we also have Ronda. And I know people think she's going to leave after WrestleMania, but, what if she doesn't? So it's it's a very different thing. And Stephanie isn't Vince. As great as she is, it's a different thing. And Becky isn't Steve Austin. As great as Becky is, she's not Stone Cold. Stone Cold is the best. Was there ever a more badass guy in the history of the wrestling business? Of course I'm biased. I grew up on Stone Cold. When Stone Cold was kicking ass at WrestleMania 14, what year was that, 98?
Yeah.
I was 14. Prime time. That's right. I was born in the same year as WrestleMania.
It's quite fantastic when you think about that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And yeah, Austin was great for its time, and Becky, it's different. It's tough because there's so much more in wrestling right now. Like, the women's division is so much more deep, and the fact that you have Raw and SmackDown, their own rosters, there's just so much to choose from. It's hard, but I find Becky definitely stands out, and she hasn't really got a chance to shine as the true champion. I found her reign kind of short beforehand, and now to defeat Ronda, She needs that right now.
Yeah, and I think she should get that. That would cement her as the top dog, the man in the WWE, you know? And then she can go and avenge her loss to Asuka or Charlotte and have a great reign as champion post-WrestleMania.
Well, it gets messy there because then she'll be the Raw champion.
If Ronda's leaving, though.
We'll see, right? We'll see. But I think...
Yeah, she's going to be the Raw champion, but there's going to be a superstar shakeup the week after WrestleMania. So whatever happens, like, they can change everything. The whole landscape of the WWE is going to change the week after WrestleMania when they, you know, move wrestlers from one brand to another. By the way, those shows will be in Montreal April 15th and 16th at the Bell Center. Raw and SmackDown. The superstar shakeup. The draft.
It's a big night. It's going to be huge. It's going to be weird, too. I don't know how it works. I mean, you're a Raw champion. You know, Raw Women's Champion.
Do you have to stay on Raw?
I would think you have to, no? It doesn't make sense to go to SmackDown.
Oh, they could switch to champions. They've done that before.
Universal WWE, it makes sense. It doesn't say, like, SmackDown Raw Champion, but Raw Tag Team Champions can't really go to SmackDown.
I think they should switch the Universal and WWE champions.
So Daniel Bryan will be on Raw.
Yes.
Of course you want that.
Yes. Yes!
But then Brock Lesnar's going to be on SmackDown.
No, Seth Rollins will be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins is going to be the Universal Champion after WrestleMania. Do you want to watch Seth Rollins on Raw anymore? I don't. I'm good. Let's move him. Put Daniel Bryan on for 3 hours. That guy's the greatest. My God, is he good. What a promo on SmackDown. And he was in Washington this week.
And he acknowledged it. He sucked in all the
they
cheering.
loved him. They loved him. And I was asking last week, like, when are they going back to Seattle? I don't think they were in Seattle. They were in somewhere.
Washington, no?
Yeah, well, the state is Washington.
Yeah, I don't know where
But
exactly.
what city were they in?
Oh, I have no idea.
Seattle is in the state of Washington.
Yeah.
But they were not in Seattle.
I don't know.
Maybe Tacoma?
Maybe.
I don't know where they were. Anyways, they were in the state of Washington, and that's Daniel Bryan's home state. He's from Aberdeen, Washington. And the crowd was very much on his side, which they have not been in many of the other cities that he's gone to. And Bryan acknowledged that. He said, the state of Washington understands what I'm talking about. And Bryan says that he's not for corporate greed or money. He is the planet's champion. He says he doesn't want the WWE. The WWE doesn't want him to be the champion. That's why they put him in the Elimination Chamber. The suits back there don't want him to be the WWE champion. And the other guys want to bring the business back, want to bring the title back to that leather strap, which was a symbol not only of excellence, but also of excess. Daniel Bryan's championship, the hemp and wood belt that he has, it's good for the planet. And it's so beautiful that when I watch Daniel Bryan cut a promo, I am distracted by the belt. I find myself just focused on that belt thinking, wow, that's nice. I wonder what's under the hemp. Is it like cardboard or is it like wood under the hemp to keep the shape? It's not just, loose hemp. There's something in there. What is it? And I'm just pondering this as I'm watching Daniel Bryan speak because the belt is so beautiful. It's an upgrade. He is the champion that we need. Daniel Bryan talking to his home state saying, you people understand what I'm saying, but I talk to a global audience and they don't understand, and I'm here to make them better. And he's doing that. This is groundbreaking stuff, changing the world, one town at a time.
If you think so. I'm not sure about that. I find Elimination Chamber...
You're not on his side. I'm on his side. Everything he's saying, I'm with him 100%. I'm like the people in the state of Washington. You're like everybody else. You're like the people in the state of Florida. I'm like the people in the state of Washington.
That's fine. You can have your opinions. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just Daniel Bryan. It's great that he was able to change his character and become so hateable, so likable from to so hateable. He's done a great job because, man, I really can't stand him. I can't wait until he loses. That's going to be the biggest.
I don't know if I've ever liked him more.
We just see it differently, I guess.
He's telling you what you don't want to hear. It's the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. And you know what? You could say you want him to lose. He's not going to lose. Okay? You and AJ Styles could go hang out on your flat earth and enjoy yourselves. Okay?
Well, you know who I want to win the Elimination
Randy Orton.
Who had, by the way, who had the best match
who
this
has
week?
described himself as, what was it? Not the sharpest bulb in the shed?
That was a long time ago he said that, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, but that's a direct quote that Jericho wrote in his book and made fun of Randy to talk about, Randy's kind of dumb. It was like a whole page or two about Randy Orton being an idiot.
He's done some questionable things. He'll admit that, too. He's admitted all the questionable things he's done in the past.
I'm surprised he's not been fired for a lot of those things he's done.
He was.
I made sure he wasn't fired. I love Randy. It's me, Triple H.
Who had the best match this week on SmackDown?
Randy, of course.
There you go.
Yeah, we always agree, Johnny North. We love Randy. We think he's so good. We love how his body's shiny. How he doesn't have chest hair, so he could be a real baby face. You and I are on the same wavelength.
It was a great RKO out of nowhere this week, I thought.
That was all Mustafa Ali, though. Like, that was sweet. Yeah, the match was all right. Randy got all the over on Mustafa Ali. Mustafa got very little offense in on Randy. I felt bad. I was like, really? Randy's not going to give him anything here?
He gave him that crossbody fin on the outside.
He gave him very little, man. It was pretty selfish work there by Randy. And then he hits an amazing RKO that, was all Mustafa Ali, because Mustafa Ali's an incredible athlete. I really liked when Samoa Joe showed up and put his Cohita clutch on Randy and choked him out after the match, though. That was awesome. And then Daniel Bryan showed up, and Joe wanted to fight him, but Rowan kind of stepped in between, and Joe didn't want none.
Made sense. Pick your battles.
That's right. That's right. Ugh. Daniel Bryan's not going to lose the title. You know why? Because Daniel Bryan is the champion that you need, and Daniel Bryan is the planet's champion, and Daniel Bryan is going to be the WWE champion forever. He's going to retain in the Elimination Chamber. He's going to beat whatever wrestler they throw at him at WrestleMania, and he will continue to beat all the wrestlers that are thrown at him because he is the greatest. There is nobody better in all of professional wrestling. He is the number one act in the whole business. Promos, look, matches, everything. There is nobody better than Daniel Bryan. There are guys that come close, but they're not on his level. It's a different thing.
It's weird that you say this, and yet his picture to WrestleMania, it's not very clear right now what's going on. You would think the so-called best, that would be kind of a lock at this point. All the other main events are locks, but Daniel Bryan, not so much.
Because it's the Daniel Bryan show. It's not about anybody else. It's about Daniel Bryan. He's the focal point. He sells. It doesn't matter who his opponent is. It's the best versus whoever the WWE has to offer.
I'm starting to wonder now, maybe it's not going to be that great of an opponent, and that's another reason why it's going to be the women in the main event and not Daniel Bryan.
I don't think they're going to do anything major for him. It's not going to be Undertaker. Apparently, Taker will not wrestle at Mania this year, and he has removed all mentions of the WWE from his social media, leading some to believe that he will be making an appearance at Double or Nothing, which I think is not going to happen. I do not think that the Undertaker will go to All Elite Wrestling. I think he's just going to start taking more bookings for autograph signings and stuff like that.
Well, last year we didn't think the Undertaker was going to wrestle, right, at WrestleMania, and he wrestled.
No, I was pretty convinced he was going to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania last year. Go back and listen to the shows.
No, I believe I said that. You said, maybe he'll show up into a confrontation. I don't know if it's going to be a match.
Well, it wasn't really a match, was it?
Officially it was, but
Yeah,
yes,
but
it wasn't much of
It was
anything.
kind of like a confrontation. I was right, really.
Unofficially, officially
Okay.
it was.
Okay.
Actually, it was, so you're wrong. But
Yeah. Meh.
either way, I think The Undertaker's going to be around again because they're going back to Saudi Arabia soon in May.
Oh, so they need him.
Well, Brock Lesnar's going to be around too, right? I mean, they're going to love that payday. Because did you hear what the money they made last time?
You think Brock maybe holds on to the title then until May? Like
I can see it.
He beat Seth in April, but they do a thing like they did last year where he beat Roman and then he lost to Roman at the...
Well, no, he actually did beat Roman at the Greatest Rumble because they both held the cage. Roman won, but the referee didn't see the feet land.
Right. So Roman didn't come back and beat him in Saudi Arabia. Roman eventually beat him at what?
SummerSlam.
It took a while.
It did. They dragged it out, the whole Brock thing.
Are they going to drag out Seth and Brock till SummerSlam? Or does Brock actually drop the title at WrestleMania now?
Well, he could drop it, but I definitely think Brock's still going to be around for Saudi Arabia for that payday. No question.
I could see Brock turning up in AEW way more than Undertaker. But there's talk that AEW is interested, and they've got deep pockets. Imagine that. Imagine they steal Brock.
Yeah, but who's he going to wrestle, though?
Jericho?
I don't know if I really want to see that.
You know that there's a match there. There was heat. Remember when Brock attacked Jericho backstage?
I'd
It was
worry
a whole
for Jericho,
thing.
though. I'd be scared.
Yeah, Jericho's in charge. What's Brock gonna do?
Brock could hurt him. Brock could hurt him a lot.
Yeah, well, it'd be fun. It'd be good for business.
Not for Jericho's face, but okay.
For AEW business. That's what's most important. Yeah. So, a lot of moving parts right now. WrestleMania season. AEW is launching. I think 2019 is going to be crazy. In 2020, the wrestling business will explode like it's 1998 again.
Well, the WWE Championship match is very interesting, but given that it seems like it's a lock, Daniel Bryan's going to win, I feel like it should be the opening match.
Come on, what are you doing here? Why are you trying to bury Daniel Bryan all the time? Daniel Bryan's going to defend his WWE Championship at the Elimination Chamber in what looks like an amazing match. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Mustafa Ali, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton in an Elimination Chamber match. I mean, 5 of the 6 guys, unbelievable. And Randy's in there too.
You know, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Hell in a Cell, that was the best match on the show, and it started the show.
Okay.
It's okay to have the best match first.
Oh, you're saying that this should open up the Elimination Chamber. You're not saying Daniel Bryan should open up WrestleMania. I thought you were talking about Mania. Mania,
I
he
hope
should
not.
not be the opening match.
I hope not.
This Elimination Chamber could be the opening match. I would not be mad at that because they have to spread them out.
They need to.
Or do they?
I think they need to. Having them back-to-back or maybe a match in between. Because then that match in between, it's going to be so dead. Like AJ and Daniel Bryan after the Rumble, the Women's Rumble, it was kind of dead for a bit. Because just it's a lot for people to take in after seeing a match that went well over an hour.
Yeah. So maybe you spread them out.
You need to.
So you have the WWE title match, open up the show, and the women's tag team title match, close the show.
I mean, you're guaranteed a title change in the women's tag team titles. You're getting new champions.
You're getting first ever champions.
WWE title, more than likely, it's not going to be a title change.
Predict the first ever women's tag team champions.
Well, hey, it's, Bayley and Sasha. Although,
Really?
it's interesting because apparently Sasha's injured, and that's why we got the match we got on Raw.
Can I predict the first ever tag team champions?
I'll let you, okay.
Nia and Tamina.
Yee.
Come on, man. You know how much TV time Nia Jax gets? How much promo time she gets? Have you not realized how big of a push that she has in WWE? I think everybody expects it to be Sasha and Bayley. Everybody wants it to be Sasha and Bayley. Everybody loves Sasha and Bayley. And everybody would be super mad if it was Nia and Tamina. But a lot of times when they do these firsts, you know, they make you happy by doing it to begin with. Like the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. They're like, here, We're going to give you the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Aren't you happy? Yeah, you are happy. And guess what? James Ellsworth is going to win it. For Carmella.
Yeah, officially Carmella.
But, like, you know, oh, you want women's tag team championships? Cool, we're going to give you that. It's going to be an elimination chamber. Awesome. You're all happy, right? Guess who's going to win? Nia and Tamina. Remember how you hate Nia Jax because she punched Becky Lynch in the face? Remember how everybody's so mad at Nia Jax? Well, guess what? She gets to win the first ever women's tag team championship with Tamina, whose dad, Jimmy Snuka, possibly murdered somebody.
Allegedly, yeah.
Boom, boom.
They'll never know, though, because he passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace, Superfly, I guess.
It's one of those two teams, right? All the other teams...
I think it's Nia and Tamina. I'm like, I'd bet on it. I'd be surprised if they gave it to Sasha and Bayley. Because every time, like, you want Sasha and Bayley to win and you think they're going to be the winners, especially with Bayley, they're like, nope, not happening.
Well, Bayley
It would make too much sense. Like, you kind of got to drag it out so when they do win, it's like a big achievement. If they just win off the top and then they're the champions, it's like, yep, we're the champions. We're the best. Whereas if it's Nia and Tamina who win, you know, Bayley and Sasha can chase. The Iconics can chase. Anybody smaller than Nia and Tamina could kind of get a babyface rub and chase the big champions, you know? They're big, they're imposing, they have a similar look. You know, makes sense.
Well, it would have made sense for Nia to be the first one to beat Ronda in WWE, but didn't happen.
No, they got to give that to somebody that they're going to do something major with. Nia's not quite there. She's not good enough. You know, she's just not good enough. That's the thing. She's not good enough to be the top women's star in the company. That's a spot for Charlotte or Asuka or Becky Lynch or Ronda. You know, they're good enough. Nia's not quite there. Look what she did to Becky, you know? She can hurt people. She's dangerous. So she's not... She hasn't been wrestling for that long. I think she started wrestling maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Like, she has very little experience.
So you want to put the most dangerous person, you're saying, in WWE on
Nia
both shows.
Nia Jax was signed to NXT and started wrestling in 2014. She has been wrestling for 5 years. Of course she's not, you know, the ready. You know, she's not the top star. Becky Lynch has been wrestling for way longer than that.
And you want to put Nia on both Raw and SmackDown because if you become the tag team champions, women tag team champions, you're on both shows.
Yeah.
And you want to put Nia on both shows. The most dangerous wrestler in WWE.
Sure.
So
you know why?
Question that.
You know why? Because you could say she's the most dangerous wrestler in WWE and all that, but, like, really, she hit Becky once. Maybe she hurt Alexa Bliss at one time, too. You know? But, like, it's not...
R-Truth?
It's not like... No, apparently that's not true. That was a rumor. It wasn't even true. She didn't even hurt R-Truth.
Jerry Lawler said he did. She did.
That was Jerry Lawler. I don't know.
All right.
But it's not like every time she goes out there, somebody gets hurt. And she is the top heel in the women's division. There is nobody that they have that gets more heat from the crowd. She is the most hated. That means a lot. They don't really have heels. I mean, who are the heels in the women's division that actually get heat? The Riot Squad? I don't think so. Mandy? I don't think so. People like Mandy. People like the Riot Squad. People like the Iconics. Right? Like, nobody gets heat. None of the heels get heat except for Nia Jax and Tamina.
Well,
am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but this is already heel heavy, where you have 4 heel teams in this match.
But like I said, when the champions are Nia and Tamina, they could go up against, so-called heel teams like, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. And just because they're against Nia and Tamina, Ruby and Liv will turn into the baby faces. They'll be cheered because they're smaller. It
was awkward when they did that with Alexa and Mickie James, and it would be awkward if they did that as well. I think with Bayley and Sasha, you have all the heel teams on both shows. It makes more sense.
You want to talk awkward and Alexa Bliss? She had a real weird segment on Raw this week, and we got to get to that when we come back. It's Wrestling Uncensored right here on TSN 690.
You're listening to the Ringside Report with AJ Styles, the phenomenal one.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Trish Stratus, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored. Keep listening. Stratisfaction is guaranteed.
All right, welcome back. It's Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He's Johnny North. We're here every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. WWE Elimination Chamber going down next week. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. One of the main events for WrestleMania. Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Should be one of the matches. Looks like it's up in the air right now. I think Charlotte Flair is going to be added to that match. I think it'll be the main event of WrestleMania. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey. We saw Charlotte on Smackdown this week starting the show. Talked about what Becky did on Raw, attacking Stephanie. Charlotte says she's healthy, unlike Becky, and she would love to face Ronda at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch showed up through the crowd. She got in the ring with a microphone. Refs and security started getting between Becky and Charlotte. Triple H showed up. He told Charlotte to leave, and then he told Becky, go see a doctor and get cleared. You're suspended. Why did you attack my wife? And then Becky's like, how's your wife? And she slaps Triple H, and then she went face-to-face with him like she was going to fight him, and then she walked out. Triple H was staring down Becky Lynch like he was going to fight her, too. It was kind of weird. I almost thought he was going to give her a pedigree or something there.
I thought a kiss, he was so close to her face. It was
they
ridiculous.
really went nose to nose. It was kind of odd, but it was pretty cool.
Well, Becky was provoked because Triple H did the same thing to Stephanie, and it's like, oh, you're just scared of Ronda. You don't think you can actually beat her. So it made sense for the slap.
Yeah, so Becky's just attacking all the McMahons.
The thing is, I would have gone with a punch instead. That would have been more forceful. Stone Cold wouldn't have slapped. He would have, punched or kicked, whatever, stun her, but...
Yeah. She hit him, but didn't take him out. Ronda would have taken him out.
Well, she's done it before, right? So, yeah, of course.
Still, Becky getting that deal. Over on Raw, we had a pretty bizarre segment. They're doing different things with Alexa Bliss, and I'm not really sure if they know what they're doing. She has a talk show segment. EC3 was the guest. He's like a new wrestler on the WWE main roster. He's kind of on Raw, kind of on SmackDown. Alexa seemed really into him. She says he's really good looking, and he's got a very large bank account. And, of course, she was kind of, making references to something else. It was weird.
Right.
She was, coming on to him. And they're doing this thing with Alexa Bliss where they're trying to make her like a sexy character. She's she was shown almost topless in her locker room a few weeks ago, which, wasn't that bad. There was really nothing shown. You saw nothing at all, and, people got mad about this. But I thought the Moment of Bliss segment with EC3 was way worse. Way more offensive. I don't understand why they're trying to turn Alexa Bliss into this, seductress character. It's odd. It's odd that she has become this, and it was really odd to see her that into EC3. It was what is going on here? Isn't she, engaged to Buddy Murphy, too? What's the deal there? Is she still with Buddy Murphy? What's the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So, yeah,
That's weird.
It's weird, but they don't acknowledge that. So
well, no.
She's doing her own little thing, and I guess that's just a way to get her character over. It's kind of, to me, it's just like Mandy Rose, but, she's on Raw.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I think Alexa...
But she's supposed to be a babyface.
Alexa a babyface?
Yeah.
Okay, I think
because
that's
Nia
that.
Jax interrupts, and she's like, "No one cares about you, Alexa. No one cares about EC3. Everybody only cares about me." Nia Jax is clearly the heel. EC3 is a babyface. Alexa's a babyface.
But then Dean Ambrose comes out.
He's a heel.
But then he got in like Nia's face a bit.
Well, because Nia pushed Ambrose out of the ring last week. Because Ambrose now is the heel that sucks. He's like the low-end heel. He's the lowest-end heel because he's leaving WWE, and everybody knows it. So he's getting pushed around by Nia Jax, and he's mad about it, but he's doing nothing about it. And then Ambrose gets into EC3's face, and he's like, "Who are you? Where's EC1 and EC2?" Which I thought was a good line by Ambrose. And then EC3 punched Ambrose, and they have a match that EC3 won, just beating Dean Ambrose clean. So that's where Dean Ambrose is. He's the heel that's just kind of a loser. Even the other heels are like dismissive of him. He has gone from semi-main event, main eventer to like bottom of the ladder, just total jabroni. Like if he loses to Kurt Hawkins next week, I will not be surprised. They are jobbing out Ambrose on TV, and I think they're going to do it every single week.
Well, he lost the match, but he did all the talking. Like EC3 didn't even get to say a word, so they put him over, but only in the sense that, yeah, he won the match, but we still don't know much of his character, EC3, in WWE.
No, we don't.
So it was kind of weird. I don't know. Like, they don't like his talking. Like, we've seen him on Impact. He can talk. I don't know what the problem is.
Can he, though?
I think he can talk pretty decent compared to a lot of people on WWE.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He doesn't cut a great promo.
He doesn't cut a bad promo. Like, give him a chance. Like, the fact that you won't even let him talk, like, I don't think he's that bad.
You know, they don't let EC3 talk, but they left Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg sing. You know, that's not a good idea. For the second weekend in a row, they're singing With My Baby Tonight.
People sang with it.
Yeah, it was very bad, though. Just terrible seeing those two old men dancing around in the ring. And then Elias beats Jeff Jarrett. Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett beat up Elias after the match, though, and hit him with a guitar. But, yeah, Jeff Jarrett wrestled on Raw this week.
It was weird because it was the old school Jeff Jarrett, but it was also new school Jeff Jarrett. Like, he came out with the old song, Double J song.
Yeah.
But he's like WCW Jeff Jarrett gear. So it's kind of weird. Like, I think he's trying to be that kind of attitude, but he's also having that music, and then they're singing the song. So it's a little weird. It's like a mix of Jeff Jarrett's.
Yeah, it's just the Jeff Jarrett compilation set. You know, it's just whatever he's been over the past several years is what he's become.
Plus, he should.
Are we done, though? Are we done with Jeff Jarrett and Elias? Like, I can't believe we're still sitting through this stuff. It's like 3 weeks already with Jeff Jarrett and the Road Dogg. And the Road Dogg cutting his old DX promo. It was just sad.
No Billy Gunn, though.
Yeah, no.
But I think we're going to get probably Road Dogg versus Elias.
Oh, boy.
As much as I don't want to see Road Dogg wrestle, I mean, he's chunky. Jeff Jarrett looked very chunky, too, by the way. Like, he should have wore his suspenders. I don't know why he didn't. Because that gut's really starting to hang out too much. But we don't need to see these guys wrestle. I mean, I don't mind them coming out, them doing their little bit on the mic. That's fine. But the wrestling, not so much. I mean, Jeff Jarrett was okay. I don't think Road Dogg's going to be much better.
Yeah, and they're not the only old guys wrestling on Raw. Kurt Angle was wrestling on Raw this week. Kurt cut a promo talking about his career, talking about his last matches with Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre not going his way. And it sounded like he was retiring until Baron Corbin interrupted him, said he's a shadow of his former self, and he challenged him to come down to the ring. Angle challenged Corbin, and then Drew McIntyre showed up, and it looked like they were going to beat him up 2-on-1, but then Braun Strowman made the save, which set up the main event tag team match. Baron and Drew actually beat Angle and Strowman by disqualification when Strowman attacked Corbin, when Corbin was the legal man and Braun was not, which was kind of a weird finish to the tag team match.
Whatever. In the end, it was still Angle and Strowman standing strong. So
right. Braun, it looked like Braun was going to be down for the count. He took a big kick from Drew. Then Drew and Baron were going to beat up on Kurt, but then Braun made the save and hit choke slams on the stairs on Drew and Baron, which were pretty solid choke slams there. But, not a great main event to Raw. And what is this setting up? Another tag team match? Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman against Kurt Angle, or Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin against Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman. I don't know. I don't need to see this again.
Well, again, I think we're just leading to Kurt Angle's retirement. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. It's too early. We need WrestleMania. I think that's going to be his last match. And then that'll probably be the end of Kurt Angle. We're just on that road right now for Kurt.
Who's his retirement match?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, I think he brought up a great point about his son. He mentioned his son, I think, this week on Raw.
Jason Jordan?
So that'd be fantastic if that happened. He also mentioned the 3Ds, but he didn't. It wasn't the Dudleys. It was something else. So that would have been kind of cool if the Dudleys came back. That's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what I would do, which probably the WWE won't do. But for Kurt Angle's last match, I would give him AJ Styles. Kind of like a Shawn Michaels Ric Flair deal.
All right, that's interesting. That's all right.
You know the match would be incredible.
It'd be tough, though, for Kurt, I think.
Kurt and AJ one more time?
It'd be really tough for Kurt to keep up, because I know there's a match he'd want to do. I don't know if he could do it, though.
I think he could. I think AJ could do it with him. I mean, who else? I don't know. Jason Jordan? Is that really the guy you want to see retire Kurt Angle? I don't know.
In terms of the story, it makes a lot of sense.
It would, but I don't know. Because, you kind of want to give that to somebody that you know in 10 years' time is going to be remembered in the wrestling business. And you don't know that about Jason Jordan.
It's a huge run.
You don't know if people even remember him now. He's been gone for what, a year?
A little more than a year.
A little more than a year with a neck injury, right?
Right.
Do people remember him? And if they don't, how do you make them remember and build it up so that people care about him wrestling Kurt Angle, his supposed father, at WrestleMania? I would kind of want to ignore the Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan, father-son weird gimmick that they did, and maybe not showcase that in Kurt Angle's final match in a wrestling ring. Not have that be his lasting legacy, because it's not great. Doesn't make him look very good either. Hey, I don't take care of my kids. It's not good.
Well, Kurt's involved.
It's not really his son, by the way. It's just like a storyline, but it's not good. It's not the way you want to end your career. I'd do AJ Styles.
Well, I definitely think Kurt would take the loss, though. It's not Kurt winning this one. It's Kurt putting someone over on the way out. And, AJ's made. I mean, this would make Jason Jordan.
Shawn Michaels was made.
Right.
He didn't need to beat Ric Flair.
But Flair wanted that, though.
Yeah, well, I think for Angle, you should give him something like that. Like a guy that could still bring out a great match.
It's not a bad idea. I just worry, can Angle still do it? I mean, you could see glimpses of it. It's just we haven't seen it a good 10 minutes. It seems like you get past the 5-minute mark and Kurt starts slowing down. It's natural. Like he said, he can't beat Father Time. It's his greatest enemy right now.
Yeah. But I guess we're going to see this play out, and we'll find out over the next few weeks with Kurt Angle. I do expect him to have a rematch there against Baron and Drew.
Oh, this feud isn't going to die in time. This is pretty much what you're getting for Elimination Chamber, is that these guys feuding.
Yeah. Elsewhere on Raw, Bayley and Sasha beat Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross to advance to the Elimination Chamber, while on SmackDown, people just got their spots in the Elimination Chamber. The Iconics given a shot. Naomi and Carmella weren't even a tag team. They're given a spot. They did have to wrestle, though, as a tag team on SmackDown this week and lose to Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. The Iconics and Carmella and Naomi, a triple threat tag match. Mandy getting the pinfall on Naomi after her finisher.
Well, they're building this where Mandy always pins Naomi.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something in their rivalry going forward, I
Maybe
think.
Naomi eliminates Mandy in the chamber.
Right. Something like that's going to happen. Or at WrestleMania or something. They'll give her Naomi a moment. It's not going to be anytime soon, I think.
Elimination Chamber tag team matches end when one member of the team is pinned, right? Not both?
That's correct.
So if Mandy gets eliminated, Sonya has to leave too.
That's right.
Okay. Just so we're clear.
I think Sonya's probably going to take the pin.
Yeah, that would make sense. Unless you want to kind of close out the Mandy.
Well, I don't think
Naomi.
you're going to right now at this point.
Yeah. Jeff Hardy beat Daniel Bryan this week on SmackDown when Rowan interfered. It was a disqualification win, so it didn't really beat him. But
it's also a non-title match, so even if he pinned him by 1, 2, 3, it was non-title. It doesn't matter.
Samoa Joe showing up after the match put Daniel Bryan in his clutch. Samoa Joe, seems like he's a heel, but then he attacks the heel champion Daniel Bryan, so maybe he's kind of in between. Because he does get cheered for. People are chanting, Joe, 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 when he comes out. And he's even got a new shirt that says, Joe, 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 Joe.
Yeah, so Joe's just, in for himself. That's great. It's not about alliances. It's just about going in there and winning the championship. That's it.
Yeah. Randy Orton showed up after that. He starts brawling with Joe. Mustafa Ali shows up, takes out Joe and Randy. Rowan slammed Ali onto the announcer's table, and then AJ Styles showed up and attacked Randy, Joe, and Jeff Hardy. He attacked everybody. Getting physical, AJ. So I don't know if he's hurt or what, but, he was getting involved, so he can't be that hurt. Right?
No, that's it. I don't think it's that bad of an injury, whatever he has. It's just you're not going to see him wrestle, unfortunately.
I don't know why. Daniel Bryan escaped, though. He didn't face the wrath of AJ Styles. And now we're heading into the final week before the Elimination Chamber. Last episodes of Raw and SmackDown to build this thing. Rusev and Shinsuke, maybe they'll get a tag team title shot down the road because they're a tag team. And they beat Anderson and Gallows on SmackDown this week. They had some kind of mistrust and miscommunication during the match, but by the end, they seemed to be a team. Good buddies. Rusev and Shinsuke. Maybe they're headed towards a match with Shane and Miz. Yeah, maybe they get Shane and Miz next after the Usos.
They probably need another win, but yeah, I could see something like that. They beat a team like the New Day or something. I could definitely see Rusev and Nakamura challenge Shane and Miz at Fastlane.
And you got to figure Anderson and Gallows are just counting down the days for their WWE contracts to be up so they could either go to AEW or New Japan or something. Like, they are not really given much in WWE.
Well, again, it's still not bad being in WWE. You're still wrestling every week. You're still getting paid to wrestle. It's not that bad of a gig when you think about it.
No.
Maybe there's better gigs out there, and they'll explore those options when they have the chance. But
I even saw Anderson talk about how he liked being in the WWE because, he doesn't have to travel back and forth to Japan. He can actually spend time with his family. He's in the United States. The travel's way better for him than what it used to be. So, those 3-week tours in Japan are rough. Now he gets to see his family 2 days a week at least. It's not easy living, working for WWE, but maybe it's easier sometimes than working in Japan. Is it easier than working in All Elite Wrestling? We'll see.
Well, the matches are less hard-hitting, right? It's not like a pay-per-view match all the time. Like with All Elite and New Japan, it's kind of like that. WWE, house shows, not so much. You can kind of have a bit of fun, try out some things a bit.
Yeah, you also have fewer matches in those other companies, so you can kind of give more, right? WWE, you have to wrestle every single night.
It's a different grind,
yeah,
without question.
It's different. It is different. The Usos will be on McMiz TV. It's McMahon and Miz, Shane and Miz, on SmackDown Tuesday night. So that's something to look forward to. And a Ric Flair birthday celebration being advertised for Raw in Atlanta in 3 weeks' time. I don't know what that'll be. I assume Becky Lynch will beat up Ric Flair on his birthday.
I was hoping for Brock Lesnar, but...
Ooh, that's a bit much, no?
Yeah, it's probably a bit much. I think that the Ric Flair thing makes a lot more sense. So
yeah, Becky. Yeah. All right, Johnny, when's your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
It's going to be next Sunday, February 17th, 2 p.m., defending the British Commonwealth Championship against Drew Onyx, 4325 Industrial Boulevard.
All right. And for more on that, check him out on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. We will be live next Sunday right after the Elimination Chamber with our live Elimination Chamber post show on YouTube. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel right now so you're ready for that, because that'll be a big show right after the Chamber, where we'll have just one more show, Fastlane, before WrestleMania. Big things happening in the wrestling business. Big thanks to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690, and a big thanks to you for listening. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.